say something?
Well, I said my name is Larry Ellison. I've been wanting to meet you, and I didn't know how, so I figured the best way was to plunge right in, even if I make a fool of myself.
That took a lot of courage, Larry.
Well, I've been sitting over near that tree eating my lunch by myself since the semester started. And if I didn't meet you soon, the semester would be over, and I'd have to wait all summer for another chance. Did I say something wrong?
I think it's just because you managed to say everything in one sentence, which is quite a talent.
Well, it's not that I'm not used to talking to girls. It's just that it takes me longer to get acquainted.
I think you do just fine. Just fine.
Don't you know how bad Oh, hey, I'm sorry, baby. I didn't even see you. You know, man, you ought to wear a hat with a feather in it or something.
Why don't you look where you're going?
Woo! When you listen to the sounds that come out of it.
You're not very funny.
Lord, no, little fella. I mean, you the one who's breaking everybody up.
Don't call me little fella.
Well, baby, what you want me to call you, man? Moose? Hey, be cool, man. Be cool. Oh, wow. Look at that dude. Let's get on out of here, baby, before Tiger here beats my brains out.
You didn't have to be so mean to him.
Mean? Was I mean? I thought I was pretty tolerant, considering I was the one who was attacked.
You started it. You provoked him.
Oh, look, baby, that little chump's been bugging everybody in school who's half an inch taller than he is. Look, if he wants to come on like such a big man, he's got to back it up with something more than his mouth. That was a joke. Come on.
And the clay streets of San Francisco became quagmires into which the city threw loads of brushwood and limbs of trees. As a result, mules stumbled in the streets and drowned in the liquid mud. Sometimes horse and wagon were swallowed up, the owner barely escaping. At the corner of Clay and Kearny, a sign was posted, "This street is impassable, not even jackassable." With that, class dismissed. Larry.
Huh?
Class is over.
Oh. Well, I was working things out in my head.
Like how to win friends and influence people?
He was making fun of me. He made me look like some kind of idiot.
I saw that little episode at lunch. Larry, don't you think you're taking this thing too seriously?
It happens all the time. People only like you for what you look like and not for what you are inside.
It's not always true.
I'm a shrimp and nothing can change that. I know, I've tried. I wore high-heel cowboy boots till I could hardly walk. I even tried stretching myself by hanging from the horizontal bar. But all I got from that was sore armpits.
You know something, Larry? A lot of short men have done pretty well for themselves.
Yeah, like Mickey Rooney and Napoleon. It's no use. I'm doomed to be a 97-pound weakling.
I identify with him. I really do. I, too, was a shrimp.
Being a girl shrimp is not the same as being a boy shrimp.
How do you tell the difference?
Well, anyway, Larry needs something to build his self-esteem. He's uptight and it's affecting his studies.
If only Larry could have picked up that Vic Martin and given him a twirl, like Superman.
There's an idea. Why don't we put in a call to the planet Krypton, calling Superman?
It might not be such a bad idea.
What, Superman?
Karate.
Karate? Don't you think that's a little bit extreme? I mean, you don't want to turn the kid into a killer.
Karate doesn't turn people into killers. It's quite the opposite.
That's true. It builds self-confidence. I was very interested in that when I was in the service.
Look, karate is designed to give man a sense of self-worth. But more than that, it makes him peaceful and gentle.
Okay, blind side kick. front stretch. Ready.
Fight. 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 Fight.
Okay, punching. Ready.
Fight. 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 Fight.
Okay, front kick. Ready.
Fight. Fight.
Ah, yes. What we expect is always greater than what we get.
Emerson?
Seymour call.
Don't worry. Larry will make it.
Sure he will. If those guys can make it, he can make it. I hope.
Okay, Larry, this is a kata, or design form, called Pyongan Nidan. It's a simulated defense against several attackers. Notice the yell, or the ki that he does. That's to help generate more power in his techniques. In this form, you're helping develop balance, coordination, power, endurance. You can see the tremendous power he's going through there.
Fall in.
Okay, everyone's dismissed except for Larry. I would like to work with you a little bit, Larry. Okay. Okay, let's work on that fighting stance now, Larry. If you're down in the fighting stance here. That's it. Okay, extend your left hand out in front of you. Oh, no, that's your right hand, Larry. Atta boy. Okay, now right hand back to your side here and clench your fist very tightly against your side. That's good. Okay, now feel yourself balanced now. Okay. See, now you don't put too much weight on that front leg. See, otherwise you get swept out from under you there. Okay. Okay, now you should be such a position now. If I push this extended fist, you shouldn't be moved. Okay? No. Oh, oop.
Oh, you were going to tell me about the time when you were in the service, something about karate.
Oh, yes, you're dying to hear about that, aren't you?
I'm sure I eventually will anyway.
Well, it was during World War II. I felt called upon to help a little Italian girl that was being molested outside of a delicatessen in Rome. I subdued the guy that was molesting her with what I call a double arm lock whammy.
A double arm lock whammy. See, she must have been very grateful.
Oh, yeah. She was so grateful she hit me over the head with a salami. The guy that was trying to molest her was her boyfriend.
That's it. Straight like that. Okay, let's try it now. Okay. Ready?
Fight! 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 Fight!
Good, good.
Shortage of good English teachers, you know.
Wow, sorry, I didn't see you.
Yeah. Practice makes perfect. But don't you think you're overdoing it just a bit?
Well, you know, you gotta keep loose.
Right! Yeah, you gotta keep loose, all right.
Yeah, because if you don't, you know, your muscle kind of tighten up.
Right! Yeah. How's it coming anyway?
Oh, fantastic. It's really the greatest thing I've ever done.
Good. Keep up the good work.
Okay.
Ha! Ha!
Hi, Miss Dixon.
Hi.
I was just telling Miss Johnson about working out at the dojo every day after school. You know, Chuck Norris is the world karate champion. He's fantastic. You know, he can take on 5 guys at a time. 5.
It's pretty great. What are those for?
The boards?
Yeah.
Come on, I want to show you something. These boards are 1/2 inch thick. And they're cut from ponderosa pine.
Larry, don't you think
I place them together like this, which makes an inch thickness. Now what I'm gonna do is simply chop these boards in half with one blow of my hand.
Mercy! Did you hear my man? He's gonna smash all those boards with his mighty hand.
You think you can do it?
No, man. Why would I want to do that? I might get the splinter in my pinky or something.
Well, I've been practicing karate for 3 weeks, see? And I can do it easy.
Well, show me, baby. Show me. Let me see your callus. Let me check you out. Baby, you can't do it. You ain't even got no callus on your hand. Everybody know you got to have at least 3 inches of callus on your hand.
Larry, it might be better if you showed me somewhere else.
I want to show him. I want to show him he can't push me around anymore. Any of them.
Dig him getting this thing together. Dig his concentration. Look out, y'all. He's gonna do it now. Shh. He's gonna do it.
To break boards, you have to combine concentration and inner strength and speed and power.
I'd like you to know I'm awfully sorry you hurt your hand.
It's fine. It's all right.
Well, the kids were kind of mean, but I hope you don't take them too seriously.
Heck no. I'm used to it.
I thought it was a very interesting demonstration. I mean, what you were trying to do.
I've done it before, lots of times. What happens, happens to the best in karate.
You know, Larry, you don't really need karate.
Oh, yes, I do.
I mean, you're very interesting without it.
Haven't you had enough fun at my expense?
I wasn't making fun of you. I meant that.
Sure you did. Like you dig me for my character.
Something like that.
Look, I may be short, but I'm not an idiot. You better get back over there to the one you really dig before somebody else gets him.
How's your hand?
It's okay. It's not my hand that hurts.
I know. It's your pride. But it wasn't exactly a failure.
What would you call it?
Minor setback. You just got a little ahead of yourself.
Well, I did it at the dojo. I broke 2 boards.
Well, you can't exactly depend on that Ponderosa pine, you know. Maybe it was a little green.
Yeah, maybe it was. Maybe that's why it wouldn't break.
Maybe you both were a little green. But in time, with a little ripening, you should be okay. Just don't give up.
Give up? I won't give up till I'm a black belt.
Good.
What happened?
It was stuck.
Why didn't you holler for help like everybody else?
You know, you got him started on this stuff. Don't you think you better slow him down a little bit?
Well, you thought it was a good idea.
Yeah, but I didn't know he was going to turn into
A killer.
He hasn't hurt anybody, has he?
No, but if he keeps up like this, we won't have any doors left.
And I'm getting a tick in my face from those screams of his. Look, right here under my eyes, twitching. No, really, all the boys in my class think I'm winking at him.
Frankly, it worries me. A killer loose on the premises.
Oh, I think you're all just getting a little too uptight for nothing.
I thought you said this thing would make him more peaceful and gentle. Look, you call that being more peaceful and gentle?
Boy, Pete, you have created some kind of monster.
Pete, you know, we wanted him to have self-esteem, but what kind of self-esteem can he have when he's a joke to the whole student body?
Why, seriously, Pete, baby, don't you think he's becoming just a little bit obsessed? Like maybe he has some particular end in mind?
Like what?
I don't know, but the whole thing reminds me of David and Goliath. And you know what happened to that nasty old giant?
1, 2, 3. Yeah.
I think you got it.
But just a couple more times, Mr. Norris. Please? I want to get it down perfect.
Well, okay.
This time, without the numbers.
Okay.
Yeah. That was a pretty good throw you did out there.
It's my best one.
You think you could throw me?
Maybe.
How about Vic Martin?
I guess I could.
You know, Larry, the skill you're learning carries a big responsibility. I sure would hate to see you abuse it.
I don't think I know what you mean.
I understand how you feel about Vic Martin. He sort of represents all the big guys who ever put you down. But I would hate to see you use what you're learning to become the same kind of guy he is.
Hey, you were the one that turned me on to karate. Now you sound as though you don't want me to use it.
I know. But I never meant for you to learn the sport so you could get revenge on people.
What the heck is it good for then? You don't expect me to go around being a marshmallow when I don't have to, do you?
No. And by the same token, I don't expect you to go around trying to prove to people you're a big man either.
I have to prove something to myself, though. I'll meet you in the park across the street after school.
Well, nah. If it ain't my man, the Moose.
If you don't come, it's because you're chicken.
Baby, you got to be jiving.
You better be there, or I'll come looking for you.
I mean, he does have heart.
Just a man I want to see. Come with me. It's high noon out in the park. Larry? Who else?
Heard you was looking for me. Hmm? You had told me I'd have wore my pajamas too. Look out! God, see, you didn't think I knew all that. You see, baby, it's all in the yell. Look out. Wow. Woo! Oh, wow. Look at that dude. Wow. Woo! Man, it's not fair. I mean, it's just not fair. Somebody could get killed messing with that karate or something.
Oh,
wow. Look at that dude.
You busy next Saturday night?
I'm afraid I am, Larry.
Well, how about Saturday after that?
Oh, I'm terribly sorry. I really thought you were great. But, well, I go with Ron Hensey.
Him? It didn't do me any good to prove how tough I am. She's going with a cat that looks worse than I do.
Fortunes of war, Larry.
And you were right about karate, too. I'm only going to use it to strengthen my inner character.
Right.
Peace.
Where it was supposed to be, that's why we couldn't find it.
I understand perfectly.
Now then, I see you taught both in New York and New Jersey.
That is correct.
Mm-hmm. Well, your credentials and your background certainly very impressive, Mr. Baumberg. I think you'll be a great asset to our school.
Thank you, Mr. Kaufman.
Well, welcome to Walt Whitman High. I think you'll find we have a nice school here, good cross-section of kids.
I'm sure I will enjoy them as much as they will enjoy me.
Oh, I hope so.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, Pete, come on in. This is one of our history teachers, Pete Dixon, Louis Baumberg.
Mr. Baumberg? How do you do, Mr. Dixon?
Mr. Baumberg is our new transfer teacher from the East. He's going to take over some of the civics courses.
Oh, yes, we've been expecting you. Well, if I can be of any help, I'd be glad to show you around the school or whatever.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dixon. Meanwhile, I'd better get the administrative details taken care of.
Oh, yeah. I just see my secretary outside. He'll get you squared away.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kaufman. It's been a pleasure. Mr. Dixon.
Seems like a nice fellow, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
Anything strike you as a little odd about him?
No, why? Does it strike you that way?
Well, I don't know. I can't put my finger on it. For a minute there, we were like two ships passing in the night. Well, I guess it's natural. Being nervous, new situation.
Who was nervous?
That's what I can't put my finger on. I don't know if it was him or me.
This is Civics 5, which is a course in civics. Nobody will fail this course. The reason nobody will fail this course is because when I get through with you, you will all rather join the Foreign Legion than fail this course. My name is Bomberg. It is not Bumberg, it is not Bemberg, it is not Bimbert. It is Bomberg. You'll all do yourselves a great favor by not mispronouncing my name. If anyone here is not taking Civics 5, now is the time to get out. Rapidly. You, what is your name?
Oh, Bernie.
I didn't ask you to get friendly with me. That's what they called you in kindergarten. What's your last name?
Miller.
Miller, will you please pass out these seating cards? Print your name with ink on the top, in English. Pass them back in order, so I will know who is sitting where. If your card does not match with your seat, it of course will be very embarrassing for you. You will notice that there are little boxes on the card underneath your name. When you do not know your work, I'll put a little circle in one of the boxes. When you do not know your work again, I'll put another little circle in one of the boxes. When your card starts looking like it's got the measles, you'll be very unhappy. The reason you'll be very unhappy is because I will be very unhappy, and I do not believe in being unhappy alone. Do I make myself clear?
Oh, there's that new teacher. Mr. Bomberg, would you care to join us?
Why, thank you, Mr. Dixon. I'd be delighted.
This is Miss Johnson of our English department and Miss McIntyre of our constant staff.
Well, I'm happy to meet you both.
Well, how do you like the school so far? You getting acclimated all right?
Well, I tell you, Mr. Dixon, schools are schools and kids are kids all over. No acclimation's really necessary. I've been a teacher a long time. What sort of counseling do you do, Miss McIntyre?
Personal problems, curricular, programming, the usual.
Well, I'm sure your workload will increase very shortly. Wish you the best of luck.
Beg your pardon?
Oh, we were just discussing the difficult art of communicating with kids.
Difficult? You find it difficult?
Well, in the context of present-day modern life.
Don't you?
I'm happy to say I found a safe and sane way of communicating with them, with very productive results.
Well, what is it?
First, you hit them on the head with a baseball bat 3 times. That's just to get their attention. Then you talk to them. Never fails.
Are you suggesting that the only way to get through to kids is to be tough with them?
Miss McIntyre, I wouldn't presume for a minute to suggest that that was the only way.
Well, that's something. You had me worried there for a minute.
No, there are many, many, many other ways to communicate with kids. All wrong.
Mr. Bomberg, your teaching methods interest me. With your permission, I'd like to sit in on one of your classes sometime.
Oh, you'd be most welcome to sit in any time, Mr. Dixon. It would be my extreme pleasure. All right, let's do it all over again. You got all day, I got all day. Now, what are the 3 branches of the federal government? Link.
The executive, the legislative, and the judicial.
Right! And what comprises the executive branch? Waters.
The presidency.
Right! What are you smiling about? You want a medal for knowing that? Any goon child knows that. All right, let's go on. What comprises the judicial branch? Allen.
The Supreme Court.
What else?
And all the other federal courts.
Right. And what comprises the legislative branch? Miller.
The Senate.
Not number 4. Do not laugh when there is a tragedy in our midst. Miller, you are a numbskull if there ever was one. We've been over this 5 times already. But you will not be a numbskull forever, because I will help you to overcome this terrible affliction. Now, what comprises the legislative branch?
The House?
The what?
Of Representatives?
The what?
The Congress?
Are you sure? What is it again?
The Congress.
Are you positive?
Yes.
Hallelujah! You'll never forget that again as long as you live, right?
No, sir.
I appreciate it. You know why it's important for all you hairy people to know what you're learning here? Simple. So you can decide what to overthrow when you get to college.
That Mr. Bomberg, man, he's driving us all crazy.
What do you mean?
Well, he's all the time ranting and raving, calling us names.
Names? What kind of names?
Stupid, knucklehead, nitwit. You know, he makes me very nervous.
Richie, do you mean he's picking on you?
No, he treats us all exactly the same.
Oh.
Like dogs. So can you get me out, please?
Well, Richie, I'm not quite sure I understand this. I mean, every teacher has his own way of excuse me. What is this? Are you all waiting to see me?
Yes, Miss McIntyre.
We certainly are.
Oh, they're here for the same reason I am. We all want out.
All?
All.
Right. Oh, no.
What, all of them? You mean like a mutiny? Oh, boy. Mutiny on the Bomber. I knew it. I knew there was something about that man.
Which the Constitution provides for. We have another visitor with us today, Mr. Seymour Kaufman, the principal.
Right ahead, Mr. Bomberg.
I intend to, Mr. Kaufman, because that is what the taxpayers are paying for. Now, before we go on, you two in the back, I want it quiet! What else does the president do? Allen.
He's Commander-in-Chief of the Army and Navy.
What else?
He, kind of signs the bills.
What do you mean he kind of signs the bills? You want to give me that in English?
He signs the bill.
And?
Or he vetoes the bills.
Thank you. And if the president theoretically represents all of the people, how many people does a congressman represent according to the 1960 census? Waters.
Oh, a couple of thousand.
What's the matter, Waters? You don't know the answer?
No, I know it. I just can't,
You just can't think of it, is that it? It was in your homework for today. Where were you?
I had to go to a meeting last night. I'm on the varsity W squad.
You're on the varsity W squad. You must be a very important man. Would you like to join the varsity N squad, too?
Huh?
The varsity N squad stands for non-compos mentis. It consists of nitwits, numbskulls, nincompoops, and knuckleheads. Back there in the snake pit. Just tell them I sent you. Allen, since you know what the president does, you can now rejoin the living. Take your seat.
See you around.
Snake pit N squad.
The 1960 census established the ratio of representation we have today. You in the back, what is the ratio?
I hope he doesn't mean me.
One representative for every 410,481 people.
Correct. assignment for tomorrow is chapter 6. And I'm telling you now, you better know it.
Thank you, Mr. Bomberg.
Anytime, Mr. Dixon. Mr. Kaufman.
Mr. Bomberg. I wonder if I might have a word with you.
Well, if you wonder hard enough, Mr. Kaufman, you'll eventually find out. What can I do for you?
Do you think you were a little too tough on him?
Tough? Tough, yes. Too tough, no.
You don't think so?
Mr. Kaufman, I'm not here to reward stupidity and laziness. I'm here to shame it in order to get rid of it. And if I'm too tough for them, then I really pity them in later life.
That's all very well, but I think your old-fashioned, no-nonsense approach threw your class into a state of shock.
Well, I don't feel that my job is to massage egos and soothe hurt feelings. My job is to pour a little knowledge and awareness into their heads so that it stays a while before dripping out.
Mr. Bomberg, I am absolutely certain that your method works with certain students. I am equally certain that other students will be frightened, retreat, and turn right off. I know in my case, I always found it impossible to learn with your type of teacher.
Mr. Kaufman, I've taught all my life. Not for money. You and I know there are better ways to turn a dollar. No. Because I like to teach kids to be smarter. It's good work, and I feel I do it well. I would not like to think of myself as obsolete. But if I am, then that's it. Is that what you've been getting at, Mr. Kaufman, that I'm obsolete?
Well, I feel that your methods are a bit dated. I don't think you have to shame a child into learning.
Every child knows. Some children, yes.
And you always know the difference.
Are you thinking of firing me? Is that what this is all about?
Frankly, I'm considering it.
I am what I am, Mr. Kaufman. I teach the only way I know how.
All right, Mr. Bomberg.
Mr. Kaufman, I would not like to think of myself as obsolete.
Hello, friends. It has finally happened.
What?
The Committee of Concerned Parents has demanded a meeting with me on the matter of one Louis Bomberg, teacher extraordinaire.
Well, I'm not sorry. You don't think they're wrong, do you?
No, but it's just that this is one decision I would have liked to have made myself with as little ranting and raving as possible.
Well, knowing them, they'll be out for his blood.
Well, wouldn't you? If your kid had been brutalized by that monster? Thank you. Wouldn't you?
Well, Mr. Bomberg isn't my ideal selection for Teacher of the Year, but...
Well, anyhow, as members of the teachers' organization, you're all invited to attend the execution. See you around. Let's try it by the numbers, shall we? Mr. Lewis.
Yes. Mr. Kaufman. Mr. Kaufman, as chairman of this committee, I have here a full bill of particulars, which you no doubt have already examined. Now, it's all here, the whole appalling story of the insults, the intimidation, the name-calling, N Squad. It's all here. Snake Pit, all fully documented. Numbskull, Nincompoop,
Nudnik.
Nudnik. Incidentally, what is that?
It's not good.
I dare say. Well, there it is, Mr. Kaufman. And we absolutely demand that you do something about this intolerable situation.
Please, ladies and gentlemen, let's hold it down, please. Now, Mr. Bomberg, would you like to say something?
Yes, I would. Thank you. Mr. Kaufman, Mr. Chairman, fellow teachers, ladies and gentlemen of the committee. I've been a teacher for many years. And in all my years as a teacher, I've never in my life heard such a petty list of imbecilic complaints. If you pussyfooting parents had the slightest semblance of ordinary responsibility, then maybe my job wouldn't be made so impossible.
Mr. Bomberg, please.
Mr. Kaufman, are you going to take charge of this?
All right, let's hold it down, ladies and gentlemen. Please, everyone.
Mr. Kaufman,
Mr. Dixon.
perhaps Mr. Bomberg isn't his own best defender.
Perhaps.
Mr. Lewis, you asked a couple of the complaining kids to wait out in the hall.
I did.
Why don't we call them in and hear what they have to say about this?
Any light would help, Mr. Dixon.
Thank you. Michael, Helen, would you come in, please? We're just trying to get the truth of something, so don't be afraid. Michael, what did Mr. Bomberg do to you?
Well, he called me a lame brain. He also called me a numbskull.
Why did he call you those names?
I don't know. I guess because I didn't know an answer or something.
Is that your chief complaint with Mr. Bomberg? His name calling?
Well, it's no fun to be insulted like that. You know, I don't come to school to be insulted.
Of course not. Nobody does. Why do you come to school?
To learn.
Do you learn in Mr. Bomberg's class?
Sure, you learn all right. You learn or else.
Or else?
You get hollered at, insulted, teased. What about Helen? He made her cry when she didn't know an answer.
Is that true, Helen? What happened?
Mr. Bomberg asked me who the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court is. And when I didn't know, he made me feel so bad, I just cried.
Now that's disgraceful. A teacher browbeating a child into tears.
Helen, you're in my history class, aren't you?
Yes.
I can remember you crying at least 3 separate times, isn't that right?
I guess so.
Why did you cry in my class?
I cry easy. If I'm angry or happy or anything, I'll pour the tears. I guess I'm just a crier. But can I say something, Mr. Dixon?
Go ahead.
Because I do cry easy doesn't mean that it wasn't Mr. Bomberg's fault. It was his fault. Why did he have to yell at me? I always work hard.
I know you do. Okay, thank you. Helen, who's the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court?
Warren E. Burger, nominated to the Supreme Court by President Nixon and sworn in on June 23rd, 1969.
Thank you.
Mr. Dixon, why are you trying to whitewash Mr. Bomberg? A modern teacher like yourself doesn't condone his harsh methods.
Mr. Lewis, I admit that Mr. Bomberg's method isn't mine. But why should it be? If he cares so much about teaching that he's not afraid to ruffle a few feathers to get a job done, maybe we need more teachers like him. I sat in on his class, and I saw a man that was totally dedicated to teaching.
Yes, but the kids can't stand him.
Bomberg may be too tough, but he does know his subject. And I don't think you'll find that at the end of the semester, there will be any students who don't know their civics.
That may be so. But you don't excuse his calling the kids names the way he does.
No, I don't like it. But Mr. Bomberg does care about teaching. Oh, he may never win any popularity contest, but he is a good man to teach your kids civics. And I hate to see us lose a man with his talent and dedication.
Well, Mr. Dixon, I don't know but that you make a case. Perhaps we've been a little hasty. Mr. Bomberg, maybe some of us parents have pampered our children. Made them a little soft. I don't know.
Well, there lies the difference between us, Mr. Lewis, because I do know. And if you...
Excuse me? Why don't you let Mr. Lewis finish?
Of course.
But even if it is true, I don't think it's your job to toughen them up. Still, I wouldn't want to be responsible for a man losing his job. Especially when... Well, anyhow, I'm in favor of giving Mr. Bomberg another chance. What do you say?
No. Well, I'll go along with that.
How about the rest of it?
Yes, why not?
Well, if that's a consensus, we can adjourn. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
You're great, Pete.
Pete? Thanks. You certainly helped me make up my mind.
Wasn't Pete great, Liz?
Oh, he spoke well, all right. I'm not so sure he convinced Baumberg to change his ways, though.
Thank you, Mr. Dixon. There's just one thing I want to take exception to. That business about me never going to win a popularity contest. How can you be so sure?
I can't tell you how relieved I am over the results of last night's meeting. Now, let's hope maybe Mr. Baumberg will modify his methods a little bit. Must have had a bit
Good morning, Miss Kaufman. Good morning, all.
Good morning, Mr. Baumberg.
So the revolution failed, huh? You're all trapped like boys and girls in a sinking ship.
He did say boys and girls.
That's what the man said.
Miss Johnson, I'm in the most incredible trouble with my mom again. You gotta help me.
Well, what happened this time?
Well, she never believes me. Last night... Oh! There's my boyfriend.
Yes.
I'll talk to you after lit today, okay, Miss Johnson? It's vital.
Real good, Margaret, sure.
No!
Oh, good morning, Alice.
Good morning.
Hi, Alice.
Hi.
Beautiful day, isn't it?
Is it? Oh, yeah, I guess it is.
Are you okay?
Sure, fine. Swell.
Were you up all night grading papers again?
Mm-hmm. Some kids came by, and then Margaret Peters phoned again. Well, I couldn't turn them away.
You know, you keep this up, you're going to be the best loved teacher in the hospital.
At least I'd get some sleep. There are still a number of delinquent candy accounts. Any student on the delinquent list must turn in their money or the chocolates by Friday without fail. All right, Barney, would you and George please pass out the books Mr. Dragon has sent up?
Is that our next assignment?
Yes, Margaret.
Silas Marner.
Come on now. It's a classic.
Classics. That means it's guaranteed to put you to sleep, right? Why can't we study the books we like once in a while?
Because they ain't classic, man.
In a sense. See, they haven't withstood the test of time.
Yeah, but that don't mean that they aren't fun to read and that we can't learn lots from them.
Teachers think you only learn something when it hurts.
Now, that's not true, Barney. But we do have a certain curriculum we must follow.
Yeah, but I bet you'd rather read modern books just like us, wouldn't you, Miss Johnson?
Sure she would. She's not a creep like old man Dragan.
Dragan thinks anything after Nathaniel Hawthorne is science fiction.
Science fiction is practically pornography.
Not everyone has the same taste. Besides, Mr. Dragan is head of the English department.
So we gotta read a book he likes.
Miss Johnson, we just got through with the old classic. Why can't we study a book we want, and then we'll study that old Silas Marner?
Yeah, right on.
Well, do you have a book in mind, Pat?
How about Catch-22?
Catch-22?
Yeah, it won all kinds of literary awards, and lots of people think it's a really great book.
What's it about?
Well, see, there's this dude, Yossarian, and he's in the army, right? And he wants out. And the only way you can get out is to tell the medics you're crazy. But if he knows that he wants out, then he can't be crazy, so he's in, which really makes him crazy. And if the dude asks to get out, then he can't be crazy. So, I mean, that's Catch-22. Dig it?
Kind of reminds me of school.
Oh, come on, Miss Johnson. Be a good egg, please. Let's read the book we want, and then we'll read the book you want.
Miss Johnson's with us, Pat. She wants to study the same book as us. Don't you, Miss Johnson?
Well, all right. But first we'll study Silas Marner, then Catch-22.
Oh, why can't we do it the other way around? We're still recuperating from the mill on the floss.
Yeah, and we'll feel so great after Catch-22, we won't mind Silas Marner so much. It'll help the educational process.
Okay, Miss Johnson, Catch-22 first, please.
You know, we could use a few of you kids at the Paris peace talks. Okay, it's a deal. First Catch-22, but then Silas Marner.
Best teacher at Whitman.
You can say that again.
Best teacher at Whitman.
It's my boyfriend. My parents don't approve, especially Mom, so when I called you last night...
Oh, yes, at 11 o'clock.
I was
Miss
with
Johnson.
Mo.
Oh, Miss Johnson, you thought about that beer of mine yet?
Barney, I
Miss Johnson, remember what you told me to tell the boys about tonight? Remember? Oh, yes, I have it. So what am I supposed to do? You didn't tell me.
If I handed it tomorrow, would that be all right?
Shut up. You heard something? I told my mother I was
Wait a minute,
studying...
Margaret. Handed what tomorrow?
Mill on the Floss book report. I know I said today, but I'll get it tomorrow for sure.
Was that the one that was due 2 weeks ago?
See, if I don't get that B in English, no track team. No track team, no scholarship, no nothing. I'm gonna be in serious.
Please, Miss Johnson. So if you could just sign this note saying that we were studying together last night.
See, if I don't get that B, I've had it. Why stay in school?
I can't sign this note, Margaret.
Will it be all right? The book report, I mean.
Yes, I guess so.
Oh, swell. Hey, you're great, Miss
Oh,
Johnson.
you've got to, Miss Johnson. It's the truth. We talked for a long time. That was studying.
Miss Johnson, my whole future depends on that B, so you will give it to me.
Would you step in here a moment, please? I'd like a word with you.
In just a second, Mr. Dragan.
I don't have much time.
I have to go.
Oh, please. You're not like the other teachers. You understand. Just initial it, okay, Miss Johnson?
Now, you will explain the particulars to your mother, won't you, Margaret?
Oh, sure, of course. I promise. Oh, thanks. You're great,
Oh,
Miss
Miss
Johnson.
Johnson.
Fantastic.
What about my B?
We'll see. I have to talk to Mr. Dragan.
Can you ask him what he thinks of Catch-22?
When Mr. Kaufman was sergeant in my department, I was a little less than enthused. But from all reports, it appears you've been able to instill into your students a rare enthusiasm, which I shall be only too pleased to know to my evaluation report of your work at the end of the semester. Well done, Miss Johnson.
Thank you.
Now then, how is your Lit Class 204A getting on with Silas Marner?
Oh, well, Mr. Dragan, what I've done is, well, the class is sort of aiming at Silas Marner. You know, getting in the mood, preparing.
Good. Great book. My personal favorite. And perhaps the greatest book in our entire curriculum. Well, keep up the good work, Miss Johnson. Oh, Miss Johnson,
Yes, Mr. Dragon.
get some sleep.
Good morning.
Oh, good morning.
Having any problems?
Oh, no. I left some papers in my desk that needed marking. I just thought I'd get here early, but I didn't realize that the doors would be locked.
You didn't realize.
That the doors would be locked.
I see. Okay, kid, what are you doing here?
Kid? Look, I'm Miss Johnson. I happen to be a teacher.
That's funny. Most teachers know what time school starts. What do you teach, kid?
English.
English, huh? Okay, who wrote Uncle Tom's Cabin?
Uncle Tom's Cabin? Well, that's easy. That's simple. Well, let's see. Everybody knows Uncle Tom's Cabin.
It's a book.
Well, I didn't think it was a motel.
All right, don't get wise.
Harriet Beecher Stowe.
Who was the bad guy?
Simon Legree. And do you want me to tell you who he reminds me of?
Okay. I guess you're a teacher, all right.
Thanks.
Do you mind if I give you a word of advice?
What is it?
Don't burn the candle on both ends. It ain't worth it. Try to get some sleep at night, Miss Johnson.
You're not an emergency clinic, Alice. You know, you're not supposed to be on duty 24 hours a day.
But they're such great kids, Pete.
Sure, but you can't do everything. Teach your regular classes, give special tutoring, and handle their individual emotional problems. It's too much.
How'd you like to coach the baseball team on the side?
Well, I am getting a little worn down, but...
What time did you get to bed last night?
Well, after I finished grading some of these quiz papers about... Oh, no, then Natasha Rogers called, and then Margaret again. Oh, about 1:32.
Alice, you have got to learn how to say no.
Pete's right. You've got to draw the line. I mean, I'm a sensitive, sympathetic counselor, but I don't get phone calls all hours of the night.
How do you manage it?
Leave the phone off the hook.
Of course it's a comedy. A black comedy.
How can you tell a book about war and men getting killed funny?
Yeah, but that's what black comedy is. If you don't laugh, baby, you'd be crying all the time.
I disagree. Personally, it's an immoral book. Don't tell me. My father was in World War II, and this makes it all sound like it was crazy.
So what did your father think about the book?
I don't know.
Well, Barney, why don't you ask him?
Okay.
All right, read the next 3 chapters for tomorrow.
I know immorality. Yes.
Miss Johnson, you must be a veritable miracle worker.
Really?
To see a class so bright-eyed and bushy-tailed after 40 minutes of Silas Marner, you know, that proves that our students can learn to appreciate the classics if they're taught with enthusiasm and verve.
Thank you.
You know, tomorrow, I'm going to permit myself a very special treat.
What treat is that, Mr. Dragon?
I'm going to witness firsthand what you're doing with Silas Marner. I'm going to audit your class. See you, Miss Johnson.
What's the matter? You're not hungry?
Oh, no, not very.
All right, Alice. Come on. What's on your mind?
You know, teaching Silas Marner?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not exactly teaching Silas Marner.
You're not?
I'm teaching Catch-22.
Figures?
No, you don't understand. You see, the kids felt...
Let me guess. The kids felt that Silas Marner would be a drag, but that Catch-22 would be fun, right? And you felt the kids would hate you if you forced them into that dusty old classic. But if you allowed them to read a swinging modern classic, they'd love you. Am I close?
Exactly. But that's still not all. Mr. Dragon's going to audit my class today. What am I going to do, Liz?
I tell you what I'd do.
What?
For openers, I'd pray.
Pray?
Pray.
What do you mean we've gotten all we can out of Catch-22?
We're hardly even into it.
What's going on, Miss Johnson?
Sounds like cop-out time to me.
Yeah. We had an agreement, remember? Catch-22 first, then we dig into Silas Marner. Now, would you please get out your copies of Silas Marner?
Mine is home.
Mine, too.
We didn't know we were supposed to bring them.
Of course you didn't. All right, let's go on with Catch-22.
Yeah.
Barney, you were going to ask your father what he thought of the book. Has he read it?
Yeah, he said he read it when it first came out.
Excuse me, Miss Johnson. People, please go on, just as if I weren't here.
Yes, of course. Well, now, where were we? Oh, yes. Barney, you were about to tell us what your father thought of the book.
Oh,
well, I'm not...
Wonderful. Now, that's wonderful, Miss Johnson, bringing the views of the parents into the classroom. Oh, sorry. Go on, just as if I weren't here.
Go ahead, Barney.
Oh, well,
It's all right, Barney. Now, go ahead. What'd your father have to say?
Well, he said a lot of things in the book were exaggerated. Like the way the nurses in the hospital cared more about their personal problems than they did about the patients.
Yes, practically everything in the book was exaggerated. Now, what do you think the author's intent was in exaggerating reality the way he did? Pat?
Well, it's just like in a painting. Sometimes the artist has to exaggerate certain features in order to get his point across.
Yeah, like the cat who cornered the whole cotton market in Egypt. That was impossible. But, you know, there were cats in the army stealing stuff and selling it.
Good. Now, does anybody else have an...
Excuse me just a moment, Miss Johnson. I must have come in here somewhere in the middle. Hospitals, nurses, stealing cotton. Now, I don't like to interrupt, but could someone please tell me what happened to Silas Marner and all this? Miss Johnson? I'm not upset, Miss Johnson. But I am seriously disappointed.
But Catch-22 is a marvelous novel.
It's a controversial novel, my dear. Silas Marner, on the other hand, is a time-tested classic. More importantly, it's on your teaching plan. Therefore, I suggest you teach it.
I was going to.
Miss Johnson, as you know, this is the first year of your probationary period.
Yes, sir.
Not a very promising beginning, is it? Not at all. From now on, Miss Johnson, you must place your trust in Silas Marner.
I'll try.
I hope so. I sincerely hope so.
Excuse me, Mr. Dragon. Miss Johnson, you wanted in Mr. Kaufman's office right now.
Dear Miss Peters, just to let you know that your daughter Margaret Celestine Peters was studying with me last night as she claims she was. Yours very truly, A.J.
You wanted to see me, Mr. Kaufman?
Yes, come in, Miss Johnson. I don't believe you've met Margaret's mother, Mrs. Peters.
No, but I certainly wanted to meet you and find out what you thought you were doing when you signed that note. I'm sorry, Miss Johnson. Honest isn't a word I want to hear from you, Margaret.
I think I can explain, Mrs. Peters.
Please do. My daughter goes hoop-de-dooing off with a boy all hours of the night, and her teacher signs a note saying that she is studying. What do you teach, Miss Johnson? Sex education?
I don't think that's fair, Mrs. Peters. I think there's a reasonable explanation.
Well, I'd certainly like to hear one.
Miss Johnson?
Well, I'm afraid I did sign the note. We were studying. She did call me. I suppose that's a little misleading, but...
You were studying on the phone? What kind of a story is that?
It's a true one. I'm certain, Mrs. Peters, it's too far out to be anything else. I am equally certain that Miss Johnson was doing what she thought was best for Margaret, weren't you, Miss Johnson?
Be that as it may, Mr. Kaufman, you cannot explain away the fact that one of your teachers joined in a conspiracy to deceive a parent, and I don't like it, not one bit. Come on, Margaret, I want to talk to you.
I'm sorry, Miss Johnson.
Miss Johnson, do you know why a teacher teaches for 3 years before he receives tenure?
Well, I suppose if he or she can't do his or her job, he or she can be let go or fired.
Exactly.
You gonna fire me, Mr. Kaufman?
Miss Johnson, I like your enthusiasm for teaching. I like your dedication, but aren't you aware of what this kind of foolish, thoughtless behavior can lead to?
I'm sorry.
Well, I'm afraid that's not good enough. Now, look. You've asked me if I'm going to fire you. I can only tell you that at the end of the semester, I will review your work and Mr. Dragon's evaluation, and I'll make a decision.
Thank you, Mr. Kaufman.
Oh, don't thank me because, well, I just hope I never hear anything like this again.
Yes, sir.
And Miss Johnson, I will be listening very carefully.
Alice, don't you think Mr. Kaufman was justified in reading your...
I guess so.
Alice, do you want to be a teacher?
Of course I do.
Then why don't you act like it?
But what do you mean?
Well, your first responsibility is to teach English, right? Well, you've let your students' personal problems interfere with that job.
I don't know. I guess I'm just a flop.
Alice, if you're ever going to teach, you've got to get over this idea that your students have to love you. They don't. What they have to do is learn. And what you have to do is teach them.
But I don't know where to start.
Start with Silas Marner.
All right. Look, it's 3 weeks since I committed the treasonous act of forcing you to put aside Catch-22 and read Silas Marner. You didn't want to study Silas Marner. I didn't particularly want to teach it. But what about Silas himself and the life he lived?
You call that living?
What do you call it, Barney?
Personally, it's a pretty miserable existence.
You mean because Silas was a miser?
Sure, all he cared about was money.
He certainly wasn't the most fun-loving cat in town.
Is the meaning of Silas Marner that money is bad?
Well, all it bought old Silas is being lonely.
Yeah, but that's because he used it like a shield to keep people away from him, right?
Oh, come on.
Okay, stop. Know what we've been doing? Thinking about Silas Marner. Arguing about it. And I bet some of us have actually been enjoying it. See? It's possible.
Hey, so that's why when he lost all that old gold, he was, like, vulnerable. And he could love that little girl, Eppie, right?
In other words, when he lost the money, he was forced to change, right? Yeah. Okay, now remember, this is a time when England was changing. The Industrial Revolution was coming on like a steam engine.
So that hanging on to gold was like hiding from change. If you don't hang loose, you're dead.
Right. That's right.
What do you think of Jason's interpretation of Silas Marner, Mr. Dragon?
Oh, well, it is a somewhat unorthodox view of the book.
It wasn't the gold that was bad, it was Silas believing in it. Don't you think everybody's got to change their beliefs once they find out they're dragging behind the times?
Well, actually, you have a very interesting point there.
You mean you believe in revolution?
In change. In change, I hope there is a difference.
Some people think one's impossible without the other.
Is that what you think, Pat?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I'm not exactly sure.
Well, what about the changes that have taken place in this country over the years?
What kind of changes?
Well, what ones can you think of?
I'm sorry, Mr. Dragon, but I think I'm right.
No, Jason, the thoughts of Chairman Mouse simply don't apply to Silas.
But, Mr. Dragon, I think I'm right.
I don't care.
Have you decided about my B yet, Miss Johnson?
Yes. You'll get a B if and when you earn it. And it's well within your capacity.
You know something, Miss Johnson? You've changed.
Well, that's what Silas Marner was all about, wasn't it?
Miss Johnson, you're never going to believe this.
But what?
But I'm in trouble with my mother again, and I gotta talk to you.
Look, Margaret, we're going to have to limit our conversations to what goes on in class. Now, you have friends to discuss your personal problems with. And if they're serious, you can go see your counselor.
Between the hours of 8 and 4:10 in my office, okay, Margaret?
Oh, swell, Miss McIntyre. Sweating.
I've been trying to get up the nerve to do that for weeks.
Well, that wasn't so bad, was it?
Well, actually, it's a great relief. Except
what?
Well, Margaret says she has another problem with her mother.
About what?
Well, that's just it. Now it looks like I'm never going to find out. And then Mr. Dragon said he had never encountered so many far-fetched interpretations of a book.
Is that good?
No, but he said he'd never encountered such enthusiasm either.
That is good.
So what are you going to teach next?
Well, we're going to finish Catch-22.
Catch-22?
Yes, Mr. Dragon said it was all right since the class handled Silas Marner the way they did.
Well, you should be very proud.
Oh, I am. And Mr. Dragon even preferred Catch-22 to a classic. One of the kids suggested we study.
Dragon did to a classic? Which one?
Lady Chatterley's Lover.
How many of you read a newspaper this morning? Jason, did you?
No, I just want to let you know I did last night's assignment.
Well, right now I'm not interested in last night's assignment.
Man, that's just my luck. When I do it, you ain't interested. You're going to be interested tomorrow in today's assignment.
You'll find out tomorrow. Now, if you people don't read the newspaper, how do you know what's going on in the world?
I thought this class was history, not current events.
Everything that's in this paper happened yesterday, and yesterday is history. So, starting tomorrow, I want everybody to read the morning paper and be prepared to discuss it.
That includes the comics?
I'll tell you what. You spend a half an hour on the news and editorial section, and after that, you're on your own. I have that transfer student here I told you about. I was supposed to have a conference with Liz about him.
Be sure to have it today, okay?
Okay.
Brian. Brian Sturgis, this is Mr. Dixon.
Hello, Brian. Come on in. Class, this is Brian Sturgis, a transfer student. Why don't you just have a seat over there? Okay, let's get back to the newspaper. Who can tell me the difference between a straight news story and an editorial?
That's easy. Straight news is how it is, and the editorial is how it ain't.
Helen?
A straight news story is a factual account of an event, while an editorial is the opinion of the editor or publisher of the newspaper.
Brian, we're discussing newspapers. Did you happen to read one this morning? Brian? Brian, can I see you a minute? What school did you transfer from? Can you hear me? Did you take history at your other school? What were you studying? Okay, that'll be all.
Painfully shy, withdrawn, attributed to severe stuttering.
No wonder you didn't say a word. What do they mean by severe?
Well, according to what I've read on the subject, they're referring to speech interruptions which can last up to 30 or 40 seconds.
Any speech therapy at his previous school?
It was a small school district. They didn't have any.
No private therapy either, right?
No chance. His parents prefer to think he'll outgrow it.
Oh, you talked to him?
I tried. It's like they're right out of the Dark Ages.
Oh, Brian? Can I talk to you a minute? I bet you know the tops of your shoes like the back of your hands. Brian, I know you stutter. Well, you gotta give me a little credit. When a kid doesn't talk in my class, I just go right to his records. And your records say that you're a severe stutterer. I'd like to judge for myself.
Does this satisfy your curiosity?
Okay, you got a handicap. But as far as I'm concerned, keeping your mouth shut is not the way to handle it. Look, Brian, I'm not suggesting that you stuff pebbles in your mouth and go out and shout at the ocean.
I'm familiar with Demosthenes.
I figured you were. What about speech therapy?
No, thanks. I tried that once. The guy just told me that I didn't have to stutter if I didn't want to.
Look, Brian, you're at a point in your life when you're going to have to make a decision as to whether or not you're going to be a bystander or a participator. Now, I'd like to try and help you become the latter.
How?
Well, we start off small. First thing you do is participate in my class. Oh, there might be a few who may react when they hear you for the first time.
What do I do if they laugh at me?
You ever try laughing back? Come on. Let's dig into history. Take today's front page. I'm sure that you noticed that each story had a byline written by a particular reporter, and others were by AP, UPI, and Reuters. What's that all about? Brian?
A P U P I and Reuters are press services. News papers. Ouch. Pay a fee to them and are supplied with news stories.
Thank you, Brian.
Hi, mind if I join you?
Sure.
Please do.
Is that your lunch?
That's it. Black coffee.
Are you on some sort of a diet?
I was born on a diet. Inside this lean, incredibly beautiful body is a fat man screaming to get out. You know something? Right now, I could eat every pie in my Uncle Harry's bakery. Let's change the subject. Oh, hey, how's Brian Sturgis doing?
He's doing great. He participated in Pete's class today.
That's great. What was the reaction of the other kids?
Oh, a few breakups, a few snickers. The kid hung right in there.
That's just great.
Hi, gang. Oh, boy, it is marvelous. Absolutely marvelous.
Fantastic. What?
Oh, the videotape machine. After 3 days, we finally figured out how to work it.
How's it going?
Well, you know, it is going to revolutionize teaching.
You think so, huh?
Well, I don't have to do a critique on the kids. They can do it themselves. Oh, listen, I really have to get back. I just came to invite you all to a small banquet we're having tomorrow night to honor the kids that helped raise the money to buy it.
Small banquet?
You will come, won't you? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll be there.
Mr. Kaufman?
Oh, how can I refuse?
Good. See you later.
How's everything going?
Just fine.
I thought you handled yourself beautifully yesterday in class.
They started to laugh at me. I got really uptight. I'm sure glad you were there.
Well, that's fine. But what happens when I'm not?
Guess I just have to learn to handle that.
Yeah, I guess you do. You know, I was talking to a friend of mine last night. He's a speech therapist.
What a coincidence.
Isn't it? Anyway, one thing led to another, and I told him about you. He thinks he can help.
My parents would never agree.
Well, maybe if you applied a little pressure and the school applied a little pressure, we might be able to convince him. Anyway, here's his card. His name is Dr. Lubin.
He just happened to give you his card, huh?
Yeah, it's funny the way things happen, isn't it? Oh, Brian, what are you doing now?
I've got a free period.
Well, why don't you drop in on Mrs. Johnson's class? A few of the kids are working on some entertainment for the banquet. They could use some help.
And I could use some more social practice, right?
You said it. I didn't.
Shoot. So I asked my grade advisor if she thought of shoot.
Oh, that's me.
Shoot. Necessary. Shoot. thought it was necessary to
Look, Brian, I know I got 20 minutes invested in this story, but I gotta split the English.
but I gotta ask you a question.
Ask me tomorrow. After gym, I got a free period.
Hey, Bob, wait up. I'll walk with you to your class.
Wow. That's a beautiful piece of work.
What do you think?
I think you're right. Nancy should be in a creative writing class.
But how? I mean, she's on that 4-4 program. She doesn't have time for electives.
Well, I think with talent like this, we can find the time. I don't know how yet, but I'll think of something.
You have a very kind heart, Miss McIntyre.
And a rough job, Mr. Dixon. Come in. Kids look like you're about to confess you just set fire to the school. What's wrong?
It's about Brian.
What about Brian?
Well, Mr. Dixon, we took candid shots of Brian stuttering, and we screened him, and he saw him, and he flipped, so we're sorry.
You mean you taped Brian stuttering and you were going to use it as part of the entertainment?
Well, how could you be so insensitive?
It was just a joke. I took shots of kids doing all kinds of dumb things around school. Got a great one of Mr. Kaufman at the water fountain.
I'm not interested, Mr. Kaufman. But I am concerned about Brian.
But, Mr. Dixon, if we didn't shoot anything on Brian, he could feel left out. This way he belongs.
Don't give me that. Don't you kids know the difference between fun and ridicule?
Well, you were the one who sent him down there in the first place, Mr. Dixon.
Well, at that time, I had no idea what fun you had in store for him. Well, one thing's for certain. That sequence of Brian is going to be edited out of that tape.
Grade advisor, if she thought it was
Alice?
necessary.
How'd you let that happen?
Tape.
Look, Pete, I didn't let this happen. I didn't even know about it. The kids went out on their own and shot this, and the first time I saw it was when Brian saw it.
But you're the one who's responsible for that thing. You should have made sure of what they were doing.
Look, I know. What can I say? I'm editing the tape now.
It's a little late for that, isn't it?
What else do you want me to do? You know, you're the one who sent Brian down here in the first place.
But that doesn't change anything.
You know, I feel as bad about this as you do.
I doubt it. Look, Alice, I'm sorry. You're right. I sent Brian to you. I apologize. And while apologies are in order, I guess I'd better go apologize to the one who needs it the most. Have any of you kids seen Brian?
Oh, we saw him. We tried to explain and apologize, but just bugged out.
We're really sorry, Mr. Dixon. We didn't think you'd take it the way you did.
I'm sure he did. I guess none of us gave it enough thought, did we?
Can I have your attention, please? If you guys hold down the noise, I will hold down the speech.
Works every time. We all know why we're here. We're here to congratulate both Miss Johnson and those students who did such a wonderful job of raising the money to buy this audio-visual equipment. I'm very proud of you. That ends my participation. That didn't hurt, did it? On with the entertainment.
All right, Bernie, I think we're ready.
Shoot.
Pete, cover the machine. I'll try to
funny now?
Very clever. How'd you do it, Brian?
I'm a smart kid. Remember, Mr. Dixon?
You're a smart kid, all right. Did you have fun? Did you get your kicks?
I think it was a pretty good joke.
Sure it was. You ruined the party, you got your petty revenge on some people who really meant you no harm, and you might have damaged that machine. Come in here. Brian, what you just did stunk. Now, none of us are to blame for your stuttering. We might be to blame for embarrassing you. We tried to apologize, but you weren't man enough to accept our apologies.
You couldn't find the words to apologize for what you did to me.
Probably not, because you're too caught up in your own self-pity to hear them.
What would you know about it? Do you know what it's like to just want to say good morning or tell a joke or tell some girl you like her? But you can't, because you're afraid that they'll laugh in your face or run off in the middle of a sentence. Do you know what it's like to want to make a simple phone call? Do you know what any of that's like? Because I'll be happy to give it a name, Mr. Dixon. It's called agony. It's called... Hey, did you hear me just then?
I guess all we have to do is keep you mad all the time, huh?
To die, to sleep, no more. And by a sleep, to say we end the heartache and the thousand natural shocks that the flesh is heir to. How about that, the first stuttering Hamlet?
That's very good.
Well, not exactly what Shakespeare had in mind, but a pretty good Brian Sturgis.
You should hear me on the telephone. I call the information operator 25 times a day.
Why, you have something going with the telephone company?
No, it's an exercise a doctor happened to give me.
Well, I'm glad you just happened to run into him.
Yeah, well, sometimes things just work out like that.
Now, tell me this. We talked about the anti-settlement law earlier in the term when we were into the Texas Revolution. Does that relate to what we're talking about now?
Yes, that's it exactly. The The majority didn't agree with the rulers, and they were justified.
Bernie, what do you think?
Oh, I think I don't remember what the anti-settlement law was.
Larry.
It was a law disputed in 1830 when the Mexican government tried to stop more settlement, and the Texans wouldn't stop. Led to a whole lot of fighting.
Do they have the right to refuse? After all, it was a law.
Yeah, that's right. It was a law.
Well, so what? It was a bad law.
Oh, so you think if a law is bad, you can disobey it, huh?
Right.
Hey, man, wake up.
Mr. Dixon?
Charlie.
They didn't think, they knew. The Texans proved it.
Sure did. They won the revolution, didn't they?
You're a little late, aren't you, Jason?
That's what I kept telling Mr. Casey, but he didn't pay no attention.
Well, if you had to go to the vice principal's office, must have been some reason.
Yeah, he thought it was one.
Okay, where were we?
Deep in the heart of Texas.
Oh, Pam, you said that the early settlers proved that it was a bad law by winning. Does that mean that if they had lost, it would have been a good law? Oh, thank you. Charlie, Mr. Casey wants to see you.
Right now?
That's what it says. Larry, you had your hand up? Larry.
I forgot what I was gonna say.
Okay, we'll continue this discussion tomorrow.
I'm sorry I was late today, Mr. Dixon.
Well, I have to admit, you did spend a long time at Mr. Casey's office. Can I help?
Yeah, you can help me catch a fiend. Somebody told Casey I was in the chemistry lab making perfume. Now I got 2 weeks detention.
Perfume in the chem lab?
Yeah, see, it's this little chick, you know, and I've been making perfume for her, and it was a little accident.
Little accident?
It wasn't much of an explosion, and I cleaned it all up. But I didn't think anybody was around. But somebody told Casey.
Maybe Casey saw it happen.
No, it wasn't no one there. There's so much thinking going on in this school, man. You gotta wait in line for Casey to get at you.
The traffic in and out of his office is rather brisk.
Brisk ain't the word for it. It's congested. And when I find out who's responsible for this, I'm gonna pop some fink upside his head.
Suppose you hit the wrong guy by mistake. Jason, you may find out that revenge is not as sweet as you think it is. Take it easy, okay? Arnie?
I'm sorry, Mr. Dixon.
What's the matter?
Well, I'm working nights. See, I got into some trouble and I'm trying to make it up.
What kind of trouble?
Well, I had to finish my biology project and I'm trying to do a real good job. So I borrowed a microscope from the lab.
Oh, boy.
I was gonna bring it right back. It was stolen from my car. Well, I got a job right away. And only one more week and I'll have all the money to pay it back.
Has anybody missed it yet?
No. It's kept in a special case. Only advanced students are allowed to use it. Please don't tell Mr. Casey. I've got a scholarship hanging on my grades, Mr. Dixon.
I know. One more week.
That's it. And believe me, I've learned my lesson.
I hope you have.
Now, you said you saw the suspect hanging around the hall outside the chemistry lab at the time in question, right?
Right. But I was at the end of the hall.
Nevertheless, you said he was a male Caucasian about the age of 16, right?
Right. And he was wearing a red shirt.
Hey, Bernie got a red shirt.
Well, so do you, man.
Well, I ain't no male Caucasian, brother, or haven't you noticed?
Some people will use anything for an alibi.
Oh, it wasn't Bernie. This boy had hair like... hair.
So what have I got?
Never mind, man. We got business to take care of.
Hey, everybody, got it all ready.
What's that, Nevada?
Got 5 noses, 3 eyes, 6 hairdos, and 2 mouths.
What about the ears?
Oh, I knew I forgot something.
Never mind. Hey, dig. Now, this is what is called an identikit. All we do is put the spare parts together till we make up Helen's suspect. Okay, here's copies of our guide. Find them.
Poor guy.
Find them.
Okay.
Find them.
Hey, Jason.
What's happening, Victor?
Hey, I sure dug the way you played in that basketball game last week.
Thanks, man.
Hey, you want to get some lunch or something?
Oh, man, I got some business to take care of. I'll see you later.
Hey, Arnie. Yeah, that was a great report you did in Miss Johnson's class. Oh, yeah? Thanks. Hey, I was just gonna get some ice cream. Do you want some? Oh, yeah. Thanks. Save it, man. I got it.
Casey, Mr. Walker. Hey? Casey, what's going on? The traffic between my class and your office is starting to look like a freeway.
Well, maybe you ought to keep a closer eye on your class.
It's not that easy. You got them coming and going so fast, I may need a revolving door.
Something I ought to know about.
Oh, no. Nothing I can't handle.
Pete, let's have lunch.
I can't. I got something to do. I'll see you later.
Okay, but I do want to see your first free period, okay?
Okay.
Excuse me. Arnie, I want to see you.
Casey is strict, yes. Hard-nosed, okay. But I don't know about unfair, Alice.
Well, he's unfair to me.
Why?
Because they're going to have the best disciplined bunch of failing students in this school. He keeps interrupting my classwork, pulling them out of class.
Now that's unfair.
Yeah. What's this? Mutton and aspic, I think.
How can you tell?
Liz McIntyre, some of this happens to be very good food.
Yeah, well, which is and which ain't?
Alice, is this the first time you substituted in home ec?
Well, yes, but I think I'm developing quite a little talent for it.
Well, maybe we can have lunch again when you're sure.
Thank you, Mr. Dixon. Thank you very much.
Arnie, what's the matter?
Mr. Casey knows all about the microscope. I'm on probation, and it'll probably go on my record. You're the only one I told.
Arnie, I never said a word.
I trusted you, Mr. Dixon, and you turned me in.
Pete, you just drove past your stop. Don't we have an appointment right now?
Oh, yeah, I know, but I gotta go see Casey about something important. Can I meet with you later?
You can meet with me later, but be a little gentle with him, will you, Pete? He's delicate.
Don't worry, I only plan to ask him a few questions.
I know about Arnie. Have you tried talking to the kid first?
Yeah, but it didn't do any good. Now I want to find out from Casey where he's been getting his information.
You think he's going to tell you?
I don't know, but I'm sure going to try and find out.
Pete, if Casey's out of line, that's my concern. I'll handle it.
The trust of those kids is my concern.
Pete, I'll handle it. Come on. Let's keep our appointment.
Why do I get the feeling that you know everything that goes on in this school?
Because I do.
Man, if you knew what you was talking about, you wouldn't know what you was talking about.
I'm telling you, everybody knows. And I'm telling you got the wrong cat. Mr. Dixon don't need to be sneaking around.
No. Doesn't everyone say we don't trust anyone over 30? Well, he's a teacher over 30, isn't he?
Oh, no. Look, that might sound right, but I can't go for that.
Here's Arnie. He'll tell you. Hey, these kids been spreading the word that Mr. Dixon turned you in. Tell him the truth, man.
He did turn me in.
Okay, break it up. Everybody take a seat. Yesterday when the bell rang, we were discussing laws. Do you ever think that there's a legitimate reason to disobey a law? Nancy. Didn't you start to say something yesterday?
I've been thinking a lot about what we said, and it really connects with what's happening now. It's relevant, you know.
Is it? How, Charlie? Thanks, Jason, but I'd like to hear from someone else. John? Emmeline? Arnie?
First, we sprinkle in a little just spray powder.
Ooh, what's it smell?
That's out of roses. It's been in everything in the chemistry lab. Oh, Helen, you better be go getting in your place now.
Okay, good luck.
Cool. Be cool.
Who you got for suspects?
I got it narrowed down to Charlie, Sam, and Arnie.
Arnie? But wasn't he one of the victims?
You know a better way to get the suspicion off yourself? Now, that Charlie always wearing dark glasses. What's that supposed to mean?
I don't know.
Now, if you ask me, that Sam is really the one to watch, man.
How come?
Because he look guilty all the time.
Well, maybe he's just scared because you keep following him around all day.
Never mind that, man. Let's get set up, okay?
Okay. Now that the oven's lit and the suspects are deployed outside, then what?
Then when you set this oven off, man, pow!
Wait a minute, why do I set it off and off?
Because you're the right type.
What makes me the right type?
Because you're smaller than me. Anyway, it's about time. Good luck, man, good luck.
Good luck.
Hey, Jason. What are you doing? Will you wait till they get here? They're coming, man. They're coming now. They're coming. Oh.
Oh, no! Jason and Bernie's fighting! Jason is fire! Oh,
Bernie, you overdoing it.
Who's overdoing it? You're killing me. Oh, look, it's Larry! Boy, is he gonna get in trouble. Let's get out of here.
That was beautiful, man.
I thought you said nothing would happen.
Nothing did. The oven's fine.
Well, my eyebrows aren't. They're gone.
You're right, man. One of them made a beeline for Casey's office.
Did you get there in time to see who it was?
I sure did, and it wasn't one of your suspects.
Hey, Victor.
Oh, hi, Jason. Can I get you something?
You already did, man. 2 weeks detention.
What are you talking about?
Oh, you know as well as I do, man, what I'm talking about.
I don't. What's the matter with you?
Don't jive, man. I want to know why.
Jason, I'm sorry.
Man, you some kind of a weird two-timing dude. Go around buying people everything you see in sight, letting your light shine all over the place. But the first chance you get, you break to the vice principal office, and you sell out. And I want to know why you do this, man.
Well, Jason, see, I like you, and I wanted you to like me. Ever since I came to school, I've been trying to make friends, but it's hard for me. I'm just not like you.
You still haven't answered my question, man. Why'd you think to Casey?
Well, I got in trouble, just like you did. Casey said he'd let me off if I'd help him out. I didn't want to do it. He made me do it, Jason. He hired me.
Casey hired him? That's what he said.
Excuse me.
She needs help, not punishment. Her home life is in a mess. Why don't you let me talk to her?
All right, if you want to give it a try, I'll hold off. Is that the last of them?
That's it.
Casey, I want to talk to you.
Well, you seem to be upset, Mr.
Did you hire Victor O'Brien as an informer?
No, I did not.
He said you did.
Get Victor O'Brien in here, please. Well, you went for it again, didn't you, Dixon? These kids can tell you anything, you'll believe it.
You didn't answer my question. Have you been using him as an informer?
In a manner of speaking, yes. But I never hired anyone. When a boy comes to me with information, if it'll help keep order in this school, I use it.
You may keep order, but what about his character and self-esteem?
You don't sit in this office, Pete. I've got a job to do and judgments to make. I got to worry about kids parking illegally and other kids pushing speed. Now, I don't need or care for informers about parking. But if I can save a kid from an overdose of narcotics or a pregnant girl from committing suicide, I'll take that kind of information from anyone. Now, would you rather I didn't?
I'd rather you found another way.
Like what?
I don't know, but there's got to be some kind of way to be able to... Come in.
Victor, did I ever hire you or force you to tell me anything? Well, did I?
No, Mr. Casey.
Satisfied? All right, Victor, you can go now.
All right, he lied. But they all don't lie. Some would like to tell the truth if there was an atmosphere of trust which your methods prevent.
Dixon, will you never learn? There's a whole world.
Stop it! Look, neither of you is going to be convinced. If a life's at stake, sure, you have to do anything to save it. But at the same time, you can't go around turning students against each other. You can't make them live with the suspicion that any and everything they do is going to be reported. Discipline is fine, but not as a tool to destroy trust.
Excuse me, but it looks like there's going to be trouble. You better come quick.
So what's it gonna be?
Man, that's what you call touch and go.
If anybody touched me, I've been gone.
Jason, how come you did that?
Something Mr. Dixon said.
What?
He said you gotta figure out why some people do something. And I think I figured you out, man.
Yeah, well, Jason, I lied to you, too.
I know you did.
You do? Well, how?
I got you all figured out in my head.
Yeah, but why wouldn't...
To make me feel good, man. See, I'm the cat that really figured out it was you. And I don't want to be responsible for you getting leaned on when I'm not around to watch out for you.
Don't know what to say.
Yeah, well, I do. You know, those guys are in there, and they're going to come after us. Can we please go? Thank you very much.
Long day, huh?
Mr. Dixon, I just paid off the microscope, $72.90. I'm still on probation, but it's not going on my record.
That's great, Arnie. Arnie, do me a favor, will you? From now on, do your biology projects in the lab.
You bet.
See you.
Hey, Arnie.
Yeah?
Hey, I just wanted to tell you that, I'm sorry for what I did. If there was any way I could make it up to you, I would.
Okay, forget it.
Hey, you want to go get something to eat? Come on, I'll buy. That is, do you want to go get a pizza with me?
Yeah, I'm kind of hungry myself.
You know, it's been a long day, but it's been a good day.
Yeah, I feel better, too.
Are you hungry? Now that you mention it, you buying?
Who, me? No.
That's what I like about you, Pete. You're so secure.